Sounds good.
Yes.
Hello, Jess.
Hi, Lauren.
We're back.
We're back.
After what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we're doing every 2 weeks now, just so everyone's aware.
Yeah. Last time we were in the studio, too, so it always feels like longer ago.
Right. But we're right after Thanksgiving, and it's dark out already, which is really sad.
Oh, my God. It's not even 5.
I go to bed at 6 now because it's dark by 4. Oh, man. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. So we're going to talk about the Real Housewives of OC, the reunion. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to talk about Salt Lake City, maybe not in this order, Salt Lake City, New York, and then Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills has premiered.
Love it. I mean, what is Bravo doing to us, though? 2 on 1 night, Jessica.
They're trying to kill me.
It's intense. I love it. And Potomac, which we don't even talk about.
God, I totally forgot Potomac was airing.
And Potomac's good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, not at all. And we're about to have Southern Charm next week.
Oh, my God, Jessica.
I'm not sure what we're going to do. Clearly, so OC is done. That with this, with the reunion is wrapped up. Salt Lake must be coming a little bit more to conclusion.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, Beverly Hills just started, so that's brand new. But yeah, we'll have to figure out the rotation because
it's a lot right now.
Too much Bravo goodness.
Right. And so let's start with Real Housewives of OC, the reunion, because I do think that one's going to be kind of quick. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had such a solid season. The reunion just felt like it was a mixed bag of a lot of kind of weird stuff.
I think a big part of that is that clearly allegiances had shifted since cameras ended and reunion started. Didn't you get too many people I think had jumped ship to a different side that then you were like, wait, like Gina and Heather, totally fine.
Right.
So we didn't even once talk about, all of it was Heather Katie.
Yeah.
There was nothing about how Gina didn't defend Heather. And
all of them had strategized on the reunion. And, I mean, they are pros at this point, so you don't give them fault for that. But it seemed like Tamra was going to sit there quiet.
Redemption tour.
The entire time.
Yeah.
Emily and Gina had mended any problems that they had with anybody previously. Emily and Heather and the weight stuff. Gina and Jen. And they were all going to make sure that Katie was the enemy.
The target.
Number one. And then Alexis came out, and Emily is shockingly just going after Alexis, and then also trying to go after Jen and Katie for being Alexis's friend. Yeah. I mean, as though we haven't watched them the entire season all be okay with Alexis.
Right.
It was a mess. And I also thought Andy also did not show he did not keep a poker face. I thought he was a little too Team Tamra.
Yeah.
And Team Shannon, kind of, with some of the side comments.
Yeah.
People love those side comments, Jessica. I felt like the side comments were a little like he wasn't even listening to Alexis at one point, just chatting with Shannon.
Not at all. I think he knows she's on her way out. I can't imagine Alexis getting another season.
Right. So,
and please, God, no. I can't. That's what we were saying right before we started filming. But, this reunion was dragging on. Dare I say it could have been just 2 parts.
Right.
I was losing interest because I am so over Shannon, John Jansen, and Alexis. I do not want Alexis to be on again because I don't want to hear about it anymore.
I agree. So let's hit some of the highlights. So Tamra and Ryan, I mean, the Ryan situation at this point, it seems like I'm just confused. I'm like, Emily... I've always wanted a lawyer in the mix, and I forgot that Emily was one when I said that originally, and now she's in the mix, and now I'm like, I can't keep track what Emily's saying.
Yeah. That was
makes
part
it
of
worse.
That was part of it, too. I felt like at this reunion, there was a lot of multiple people talking. I was losing track. I couldn't follow people's threads, and I really wanted, Andy did not as often say, let them speak. He tried a bit. It's not a reunion if he doesn't have to shut someone up when they won't let someone else talk. But he didn't do it enough, actually.
I wrote that. I'm like, we need more Andy intervening, clarifying things and timelines. Also, I felt like the legal stuff of Alexis versus Shannon when she finally gets out there, I'm like, what are we talking about? I could not follow that.
No.
And by the way, it's like, this should be very binary. This should be like, it's settled or it's not. You're in court or it's not. Right. There was an email or there wasn't. This is legal stuff.
Yeah. The way that they could still completely disagree about X happened in the case And Shannon would be like, no, it didn't. It's like, what actually happened?
It's like, can someone pull up the freaking email so I can just read it? Because that would be less confusing than what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I don't care to hear John Jansen's name. Literally, Jessica, that and Alibaba, I could literally, those two words, if somebody brings them up, I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
They need to be blacklisted from the show.
Tamra oddly shows like quiet allegiance towards Shannon.
Yeah.
Which Andy was like trying to highlight, and like it wasn't that much allegiance.
I know.
I don't like Heather Dubrow. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
I want her gone.
There's always talk that everyone thinks she's gonna move to Beverly Hills, like that she will be a shifting housewife, and it would be quite interesting to see her on a different one, how she would fare.
With Beverly Hills.
She would not be such the queen bee.
No.
Because her money is just comparable.
Right.
If not,
to
maybe
Sutton's?
lower than Sutton's and Kyle Richards.
Kathy Hilton?
Oh, Kathy Hilton, yeah. No, actually, no, now I really want this.
Bravo, please listen to us.
Yeah, maybe
we have some
Heather.
feedback.
And I mean, good Lord, Heather can buy a house tomorrow and start renovating it in Beverly Hills.
Right.
Like, we can have her living in Beverly Hills, no problem.
Also, Andy, the one time he does intervene, which I wrote this down and I was like so pleased about, Emily was going at Jen and Katie for being friends with Alexis. And Andy says to her, why don't you say this to Heather and Tamra, who have always been like so Team Alexis?
Yep.
And Emily literally says something like, well, I did.
And
I'm like, what did you guys talk about before this? Like, everybody here talked, because this is like not what we wanted to see in the reunion. That was a great example of
yes, what Andy was trying to say was like, why didn't you do that the entire season? And Emily was defending herself going, I did say it. She meant right then and there as Alexis was on the couch.
Right.
They kept doing her little asides to Tamra, like, how are you friends with this dumbass? Like, she kept making those comments. But again, where was that energy during the season? Like, she clearly got riled up or something about Alexis in the meantime. Right. She was going so hard at her.
Yeah. I mean, what else do we want to say? So Shannon and Tamra actually reconcile on TV.
So fake. So
well, they do it twice. So one, they do it at the reunion, which Andy loves that. You've called that out before.
He loves a reconciliation. He hates grudges. He is so sick of that when housewives like won't interact.
Right. Or being hypocritical or whatever. And then they actually pick up and do the second piece.
I wrote, that was the worst picking up of cameras, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't groundbreaking.
No.
I remember you said, I heard they picked up the cameras in OC, and we were like, what could it have been? And then it is still fucking John Jansen related. And it's still about the DUI night. It is not even a new night we're talking about. I
mean, I also don't quite get it, Jessica. Like, so he heard the crash and he didn't go check on her. That was the smoking gun.
And that I shouldn't be laughing, that she hit him.
She hit John?
Yeah.
Oh, with her hand, not her car.
Oh, no, not the car. Good Lord, that would have been groundbreaking. He was just saying that night she was like probably being physical, or like maybe he was kind of being like, don't leave, and she's throwing his hands at him. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not sorry. I should not be laughing if she truly like punched him or something. But just that the groundbreaking thing was that Heather saying, John told me he heard
the crash.
We didn't have to pick up cameras. That could have been a quick little typed up sentence for me.
They all hugged Jessica.
Everyone said, I saw someone did like a screenshot of them sitting, I think they're at Emily's house on the couch. And they were like, this is the moment that Heather and Tamra are, trying to make amends when they realized everyone hated them after the end of this season. Yeah. So they're like, we got to get back in with Shannon, Gina, and Emily. We got to be okay.
I mean, I posted on this too. I just feel like it was so touchy-feely for a season where everyone was so at odds with each other.
Yes.
As a viewer, you're like, something doesn't sit right, like in my stomach watching
this is staged.
So staged. Yeah. Or this season was staged. Like one of the two.
Do you think, okay, let's talk. Who do we think, will there be shakeups? I can't imagine they go exact same cast.
I think they're going to keep Jen and Katie in though.
Yes. And I think they should.
Yeah. And everyone's really pleased about that. And then I think,
we're going to get Tamra, Shannon rebuilding.
Yeah. And then I think Heather, they're not going to get rid of Heather. So maybe Gina
could be on like chopping block. But like, let's be real. Emily does not bring much.
Yeah, right.
What was her storyline this year?
Nothing. She was the commentator on everyone else's storyline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But she was number 2 on the reunion, so they thought she brought something.
That's true.
I don't think that cast is going to go anywhere, and I think the thing that drives me nuts is poor Katie is I think it's going to keep coming back to her.
They need someone to pick on.
They need someone to. Now, I saw on Reddit. So Reddit is like uncovering everything these days. So bridesmaid engagement party.
Yep.
Matt was kind of like having this weird interaction with Shannon. And everyone was like, what happened? We must have missed something there because Shannon got so mad at Matt for saying what seemed to be a very like agnostic comment.
And he's like, I'm just trying. You came up to me. Like, why are you getting in my face?
So first of all, apparently he was avoiding the men at that engagement party. We heard that.
Yeah.
And then second of all, they cut out a huge part of what he was saying to her, which was something along the lines of like, it might be time for you to be done with this TV show. Like, if you can't hang with these women because they're making you this emotional, it might be time for you to retire.
Might be too much.
And then we saw her reaction to that, but we never saw him say that to her. I think it would have been breaking the fourth wall too much, which is maybe why they cut it out. But that was like, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what he said to her? That's a little different than what we saw.
That was a man fed up at that party.
Yeah, he was like, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you.
He's like, I'm literally hiding from the guys out there who have a criminal charge against them that I do not want to interact with. And now I have this crazy housewife coming up and crying to me like, oh my God, get me out of here.
Like she found him in the corner. Anyway, so I thought that was funny.
Ooh, okay. So there'll be more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I mean, anything else on the reunion? I just feel like this was.
No, I can't even talk.
We're like exhausted by them at this point.
Literally, I was quite like happy when it was over.
Yeah. Just
which is not a good feel. Like, it was a solid season.
Right.
It should have been a 2-parter.
Yeah.
They just dragged it out too much.
Agreed. The reunion kind of killed it. Okay, so what do you want to move to next?
Should we do Beverly Hills?
Yeah, Beverly Hills is back, baby.
Oh my gosh, the premiere.
It was great. I thought the premiere was really good. These women are bringing it.
They are.
The looks are on point. I mean, Erica has never looked better.
Oh my God, she's a twig.
The Sutton's new friend, Jennifer Tilly.
Yes.
Kind of like her.
She's kooky,
but kind of a fresh energy,
yeah,
right? That we
definitely
need.
Different.
She's also, by the way, coming in pretty aggressive. She's on the after show with Sutton and Garcelle. She sits with both of them.
Oh, okay.
Which for a friend of, I feel like is a little.
They normally don't have friend of in the after show.
Right.
Okay.
Alexis, I think, was on the reunion or on OC, but she's obviously been around the block a few times.
Right.
Jennifer Tilly, I like. We have the new one. Bose. Yeah. So that Jessica Bose, like I've gone to like talks where. Like in my corporate life.
Have you really?
Yeah. Like she's like a really big deal in the corporate world. I've gone to like LinkedIn talks where she's like been talking. And I'm not saying that to like toot my own horn. I'm saying that as like, she is like everywhere in the corporate world.
Right. That this is a very interesting shift.
Yeah. I'm watching my reality TV show and she's like on it.
Yeah. You're like, didn't think I was at a work
I like her.
retreat. Yeah, no, I think she is bringing a lot of good energy. Mm-hmm. I am intrigued by her. Oh, so sad, her story when she was talking about her husband and how she's widowed and just has the one daughter.
I feel like you can also tell with the women that they are. I mean, she's new, right? Mm-hmm. And like compared to like a Katie, right, where everyone's like gonna smush Katie with their thumb. Bose is like people are kind of like kissing her ass a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's because I think she's actually legitimate in the corporate world. She's also extremely wealthy, but, you know.
That helps.
The Dorit-Bose partnership, I'm a little like, Bose, I think you're hooking your horse to the wrong wagon here. But, yeah, anyway, so I think she's a good addition. So we start, and we see that Sutton and Kyle have reconciled. That made me happy.
Yeah.
I feel like they're authentic friends.
Yeah, it wasn't that deep. They needed to just get over it.
Dorit and Erica seem to be better than ever. And Dorit launches into her...
Woo! She lays
it all out.
The fact that, like, it was scene 2 of the premiere, and it's Dorit saying, PK and I are separating. I was like, and we are in for one this season.
And by the way, he's an alcoholic. And by the way, you know, he's gotten sober, and we realized during soberness that we actually weren't good together. Like, it was not just like a small tip of the iceberg. It was like, we're going to put this out
and
there.
admitting like the level of screaming at each other they were doing and name calling. I was like, whoa, I can't imagine that between the two of them.
Yeah.
I can imagine him like snarky comments, her maybe whatever, riling him up a bit. But when she was like, we would launch like insults at each other. I was like, dang, I didn't picture that.
Right. So what do you think's changed with Dorit? Because this one, I mean, this is the Luann season where after she went from her DUI and she went, and all of a sudden you went from hating Luann to loving Luann because she let it all hang out. Somebody coached Dorit, because this is not how she was in prior things. And people are loving it.
I don't know if she's been coached. I think the PK breakup is what broke Dorit. And she doesn't give a fuck anymore.
With her smoking the cig in the car.
The cig, being like, you know what, Kyle, you're not gonna... And I agree. I always felt like Kyle had the way upper hand. Mm-hmm. You know, Dorit was a nobody. She wanted to be associated with Kyle Richards. I do think she bowed down to her. And she's like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to anymore.
Well, can we talk about this? So it's like tale of two separations where Kyle denied it and then showed very, very tail end of it at the last season of her and Mo breaking up. And Dorit's taking the opposite approach, and she's letting it all hang out.
Yeah. She's filling us in on what happened when the cameras weren't there. Like, she's letting us know what we missed.
It's so weird to me, but one seems very authentic, and the other one seems like not. And I actually posted about this, but it's like, then we have Kyle sitting at that party, and she doesn't even say Morgan's name now. So we went from knowing that something was up, and everyone dying for some sort of intel from Kyle, and then now she's not even saying Morgan's name.
Yeah.
And then, so they must be broken up, Kyle and Morgan.
I just saw in Dumois they were spotted together.
Oh my God.
They are still, I think Morgan maybe initially was all for it. Like, she's an artist. She's not very big. She wanted her name out there. And then when it all started about like their sexuality and, I don't think they're just friends. That's where I think it was like, I don't want to be part of the show anymore, and I'm not going to film, and I don't want my name used. But they're still friends. We'll put that in quotes because God knows what they really are.
Do we think they're dating? What did Dumois say?
Just spotted, together, and Kyle is still going to like her shows.
Interesting.
It's just, I'm sorry, it's just too weird of a friendship, of a
the kissing
woman
in the video, Jessica. That is the smoking gun, and Garcelle said that, and I completely agree.
Like, you were egging it on. Don't now act like,
how dare people pick apart my private life?
Yeah,
it's like boo boo. Like, it was out there. You put it out there.
Yeah. And clearly, Kyle talks a bit at Sutton's party, saying, "I had a discussion with my daughters, saying I was figuring stuff out about myself."
Right.
She's clearly hinting that she even said, "I never once thought that I might be a lesbian, but I've started to wonder," something like that along those lines.
But that's the type of storyline, and we'll get into this on the other franchises, that if Kyle could actually just be authentic and acknowledge the fact that we all know, and like just talk through what it was to go through that with her kids, that would be such good, like, I'm sure there's people out there that like need to see that.
Yeah.
That would love to see that and like are struggling with the same thing. And the fact that Kyle hides it, it's just, I mean, it's rubbing me horribly this season that Kyle is like...
Everyone says Kyle has always gotten away with... hiding certain things because she is like the head honcho.
She's queen bee of this franchise.
Beverly Hills. Yeah, the OG.
So Dorit and Kyle are in a very bad place, which we like full on see.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of little cuts have been made versus one main thing.
And
I can't keep up.
I actually am finding myself siding with Dorit.
Yes.
Crazy enough. I know normally she is totally having a redemption season because she used to annoy the crap out of me.
Right.
But yeah, she was saying like, here we go again. Kyle can't even articulate what she's mad at me about for like first it was that the whole at a previous reunion. Was that just the last reunion?
Yeah.
When Kyle said, "I don't want you to butt in," when it's stuff with her and Kathy.
Yeah.
So she's like, first that's what she was mad about
Yeah.
me. Then we cut to BravoCon, and it's because I didn't instantly say that Kyle is my favorite.
BravoCon was bullshit.
Richard's sister. Yeah. So I totally
Anybody who
agree.
watches that could go, that was a freaking joke.
Yes.
That was so weird.
So that felt like a reach to
Yeah.
say that's why she was mad at Dorit.
Right.
Yeah, I that's where I was like, Dorit, I agree with you. She's changing her story about why she's annoyed constantly.
Well, I love to. Dorit has that weird British accent constantly, but then when she's yelling at Kyle, the British accent's gone.
It's gone.
It's like New Jersey or
She
something.
hasn't figured out how to maintain it while yelling, so it's gone.
I'm like, Dorit, you're gonna have to figure that out this season because you're gonna be yelling a lot.
And when she's not married to a British guy, she's gonna lose it.
Right.
She's been able to like keep getting like, tuned up again.
Yes.
Now, without PK, she's gonna lose the accent.
Okay, so let's talk about Kathy Hilton. For some reason, Dorit seems to be good friends with Kathy. Kyle is also good with Kathy again.
Yes, which is good. I do like the sisters being good.
Yeah. But you know what's so weird is I don't like Kathy Hilton, Jessica. Like,
oh, okay. She
she's
is a fan favorite. Now, this is controversial.
she's such a fan favorite, but I watched the show called Paris in Love. Have I told you about this?
You did, and like
Kathy is a menace.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
a narcissistic menace.
Yeah.
And now I can't get that out of my head. And now when I watch her,
you're like, I
I'm
can't
like,
stand her in her behavior on Beverly Hills, which is lighthearted and I'm so aloof.
Yeah.
But you're like, I kind of know like how you were as a mother.
yeah,
and
how you treat like Paris. Like
Yeah.
it's so obvious.
Okay, yeah.
And then even something as simple, this is so small, but when they first catch Kathy, she's getting glammed up. Did you see that she had that lip thing on?
Yeah.
And it was almost like you could drink through whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a
She had,
conditioning
like, a
lip
straw.
thing.
Yeah.
Jessica, that is because if you watch Paris in Love, she has an obsession with her lip gloss where during any hard confrontational scene, she is sitting there with her lip gloss constantly putting it on, like 10 swatches of lip gloss. And then she
God.
takes her big fat fucking tongue and licks it off like almost immediately after, to the point that Nikki Hilton at one point goes, that lip gloss is a weird tick for you.
Like it's her nervous.
Yes,
tick.
it's her nervous tick. Like Paris is giving a speech for her at one of her birthdays, and it cuts to Kathy Hilton. Kathy Hilton is putting on lip gloss.
Wait, this is reminding me of on the reunion, she was reapplying
Yes.
it, and people were all going like, hee, look at Kathy, so like unaware that they're literally straight up filming and she's doing
No,
lip gloss.
it's
Oh
like
my
her.
God, I
it's
didn't
like
know it was
it's like a
thing.
neurosis.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, "What is that fun thing Kathy Hilton's wearing on her lips?" I'm like, "I know exactly what that's for. It's her neurosis, Jessica." Anyway, I mean, she was funny on this last episode, acting
Yes.
as the
Oh my
Amazon
God.
person.
I was dying at that. That was cracking me up.
So she is lighthearted. Like I can laugh at her, but I just think her core is someone who I'm like, I don't want to F with Kathy. I don't like her that much.
Okay.
Okay, but Dorit is friends with her, which is good. And then Kyle's okay with Kathy. It seems like Kathy, what we saw, she joined the show because she wants to support Kyle during the Mauricio breakup.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then she was going in at Mauricio looking bad. Did you see that? I
She
kind
was
of
like-
agree.
She was doing like the muscles.
Yeah.
And she was like,
he's got wrinkles on his forehead, Jessica, because we saw him have lunch with PK and he looks really old.
Yeah, but also we need to like, we do judge, like he is 50 something. Like,
yeah, right.
we just have such a skewed. I do it too, where I'm like, oh my God. Like I saw Lisa Barlow was at that Miami Fan Fest and she was in this one interview and didn't look as great. And all the comments were like, does Bravo film with a filter on? Because like this is what Lisa Barlow looks like in real life.
Interesting.
And it was just all these, obviously, I'm sure that really hurt her, but like she looked extremely leathery. But then I'm like, you know what? I've got to remind myself that like we are too skewed of what these women are doing to their
Right.
faces. Erica Jane, I forget she is in her 50s. Good God,
she
her
looks
skin
amazing.
is porcelain,
Yeah.
and that is not normal for that
Right.
age.
Right.
So I totally get it. Like, and Kathy was just trying to make a little lighthearted, but again, Kyle is so not rehearsed, but she knows the PR world and is like, I'm not bashing him on this show. So
Yeah.
she's like, Kathy, I don't like that. She knows she has a battle coming.
Right.
which we kind of get an interesting convo. Sutton with Kyle.
Yeah, right.
Going, you need to file. A little bit overstepping, might
I
add.
think I'm like, I would take all of what Sutton's saying.
But yeah, I mean,
I would
Sutton
take
did quite well for herself.
I would take every piece of advice that Sutton was giving me during that time period. I think Kyle is being an idiot.
Yeah.
And I think that Kyle, the only thing she has going for her in this divorce is that the Hiltons are going to maneuver on what she needs to be maneuvered to make sure that like her PR and her lawyers are right. But she's acting foolish, Jessica, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Especially because I think she was maybe the one that instigated it with Morgan. Yeah. And kind of like, well, it seems like the timeline went, she had that friend that passed away. It made her really doubt a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
And she started to get sober and
Mo wasn't really supporting her through this.
And Mo was building his business, so he was off doing things when she needed him around. She found Morgan. Morgan started making her question her sexuality. And that put the further wedge between her and Mo that she, at the time, she was pretty bold about.
Right.
And now here they are, and it's now happening. So in my mind, she's acting foolish because she is the instigator.
Right.
And she's not filing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very strange. And then we hear the little tidbit, because remember there were the rumors of Mauricio with his Dancing with the Stars partner.
Yes.
And then we hear he put her photo up.
Jessica, I'm like, oh, so they were in a relationship. No one's getting a photo up in my house unless you're in a relationship. Jessica, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it's so strange.
Kunal doesn't even have photos up in my house right now. Like, I literally
and your husband don't have a photo.
To go through the idea that you're going to take a photo, print it out, put it up in a frame in your home. That's not a thing we do.
Might I add that a man did that?
Yes, right.
When Vince's parents came over to our condo the first time, you know, they're looking around, and I do have a ton of photographs and stuff. I actually felt self-conscious. Like, of course, Vince is in a lot of photos. Like, I've printed pictures of us. But I was like, oh my God, I wonder if his parents are like, does our family exist here? And I was like, I just need like some photos from Vince to put in. Like, every frame was my family, my grandparents, you know, but I was like, I almost felt the need to be like, I'm happy to display your family, but your son doesn't give me any photographs.
Right. I mean, truly, for a man to do that too, that is like, that says it all.
That was an F you to Kyle. He knew she'd see it.
Which all the women pick up on that, which I was happy about. But Kyle is still like, yeah, it hurt. And it's like, Kyle, get with it.
Yes, I know.
Okay, so then, I mean, they go to this surrealism party, which kind of was the big moment that they're clearly all reunited. First of all, Erica's outfit, Jessica, do you remember our Real Monsters growing up on Nickelodeon?
Yes!
And there was that one monster that had the black and white, and then the other monster that held his eyeballs.
Hilarious.
I thought Erica Jane's outfit looked like our Real Monsters.
Did not put that together, but now that you say that, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, the theme is just like so
weird. You know what vibes I got from the theme? Saltburn.
Oh, yeah.
The antlers, like that party at the end was so like Saltburn. I was like, oh my gosh, wait.
And
is
then
that
I
what
do
surrealism is? Because I didn't know either.
Yeah, right. No one knows what that is. And then Bo St. John shows up, so we get introduced to her. I do think she's wearing the wrong thing.
A fabulous outfit, but again, surrealism? I don't know.
And then I see her in the after show because I watched that, and she's kind of wearing the wrong thing there. I'm like, she's gotta
too
get
over the top or casual.
Yeah,
for that?
like ball gown.
Oh,
kind of ball gown in both spots. Which I really like her.
She's giving a Chanel Ayan vibe.
Yes,
always overdressed for the occasion. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we have this moment where Dorit and Kyle finally have their like showdown. It just seems like Dorit is like next level mad about a ton of stuff and like can't even get to like a normal place of communication.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems we've talked about the fight at this point, but it's just to me, this is gonna go on and on. This is it. Oh, this is it. This is the plot.
We've seen preview clips, and it's Dorit and Kyle like in each other's faces. Over a dinner table. So it's not ending. But I'm still interested. I'm not, this isn't an argument that I'm like, okay, can you wrap it up and be friends? No, I'm curious because it's going to be interesting where it goes.
What is your thoughts on the reconciliation between the husbands and the wives? Like we see interesting meal with Dorit and PK where they're talking a lot about him being single, and then
that was strange.
I think they could reconcile.
I do think I saw Dorit say it's not out of the question.
Yeah.
And anytime you have younger children, I think you're more inclined to try to make it work. Like Kyle and Mo, their youngest, Portia's 16 maybe? I think she got a car recently. So yeah, she's 16 or 17. So it's like she's kind of older. But I think Dorit's daughter's only like 7 or 8. I don't know. Personally, I think you're more inclined to try to figure it out for the kids.
I also just think that like Kyle and Mauricio, Kyle found someone new that seemed to be more fulfilling and was public about that. Versus Dorit and PK, I mean, PK may have cheated along the way, but it doesn't seem like he's actively got a girlfriend,
right.
Or Dorit's got a boyfriend.
You know what? 2 similarities. Kyle got sober and PK got sober.
Oh, right. And then they both just realized, like...
Is that a huge thing?
Like their marriage wasn't right.
Yeah. Because Kyle and Mauricio were always, like, the party people.
Right.
And... I mean, their white party was like the event every year, and she would whoop it up. And
I think it's not out of. It doesn't shock me though, right? Like that you get sober and like then you need your partner to be somebody else, and then they're kind of like still being the same old.
Right.
Anything else on Beverly Hills?
No, loving it. So happy it's back. It kind of snuck up on me. Like, I think because we have so many other Bravo shows happening, I was like, oh my God, Beverly Hills is starting.
Beverly Hills just seems to be the more posh sister of OC. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they just
the bougier,
the caviar problems, the looks are just on point.
Yeah.
I'm happy we're here.
My only just random observation was Sutton's Avi. I was like, oh, he found Ozempic.
Yeah, he lost some weight.
He lost a lot of weight.
I saw that too, Jez.
But you know what? I love an Avi cameo. They do have a funny.
Yeah, I love it.
I
totally
do
agree.
love their like eye rolls at each other. They always cut to Sutton when Avi's doing something, and she's just like, he's like the biggest idiot. But like they love each other.
Oh, the one person we didn't speak about too is Garcelle, by the way.
Because we don't need her to be there.
Yeah. She's so busy. That's her tagline. Everyone's like, she's so busy. It's like she's busy enough that she's writing herself out of the show.
Right.
And by the way, remember last season she had a little bit of drama with Dorit on race?
Yeah.
But now Dorit's like good partner in crime is Bo's.
Yeah.
So it's a little like what is Garcelle going to talk about? That's the truth of it.
No, I've for years just thought Garcelle has never really had a big storyline.
Right.
And if I'm being honest, I did not know her at all till she was on. And it was like, oh, actress and whatever, Garcelle. And I'm like, who?
Yeah, right.
She wasn't a big name. Like, I knew who Lisa Rinna was before she became a housewife.
Kathy Hilton, you knew.
Oh,
Kyle.
God, yeah.
Kyle,
Eileen Davidson, not so much because she was like soap operas and I've never watched those. But she clearly was like a little bit bigger and like longer running TV star. But like, I'm like, what is Garcelle's story thing?
Yeah.
For a while, it was her sons. I don't think we haven't even seen them yet.
No.
So, like,
and we see Oliver with the
Vanderpump
crossover.
Her older, yes.
Oliver
will never miss an opportunity.
No,
to be on
I was going to
camera.
say that too.
And
totally
now
agree.
that Vanderpump is, out.
I mean, we've gotten some choice comments about like don't talk about the kids on our like Instagram stuff. And Oliver is one kid I feel totally comfortable talking about because he proactively signs up to do this show.
He's 30 as well. Like, please don't refer to him as the kid.
He and Brooks are the 2 kids that I'm like, you seek the show out.
Yes,
you're not just happenstance on it. You are seeking. You're like, where's my contract at? I'm signing this thing.
When do you need me for a confessional? Like, I'll be there.
Should I wear the pink or the red? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no hate to them. If my mother was on the show,
I
would be on it.
I would be on it too, Jessica.
You best believe I would be finding a way to get in a scene.
All right, what do you want to go to next? New York or Salt Lake?
Let's do New York.
Okay. All right, so New York, we're starting with the dodgeball prank. If I never hear the other words I don't care to hear, Leaky Pigeon.
Oh my God.
Alibaba, John Jansen, Leaky Pigeon.
Thank you, Leaky Pigeon. Yes, let's retire that one.
Never want to speak about that again.
Because it's just completely made up that Uba just coined for no reason.
Right. And what was the point of that prank? Like, truly, what was the point?
It is so convoluted what happened throughout it all that literally Aaron at the picnic is like, how am I the bad guy? And I was like, actually, like, rewind all the tapes. You have messed this so far up.
Yes.
And I really, it did slightly change. I have always liked Aaron. It has slightly changed my view. I'm like, shit, I do think she is a bit of the pot stir and the telephone. Like, she is just as guilty as Brynn with some of the games of telephone.
I agree. But Jessica, it does not feel like she's master manipulating it. It feels like she just lost track of her own damn lies.
Because she can't keep her mouth shut.
Yeah. And she was like, like she has too much to drink and she says weird stuff.
Yeah.
I looked at her not as some savvy human being that was like trying to concoct stuff. I looked at her as just mess.
Yeah.
After that.
So this though, remember we were saying how Brynn made a comment. So before we got confirmation it was the prank at Dodgeball, Brynn made the comment like, I used to work with Rebecca's husband and I heard some things. So we now know Brynn knew the sleeping around wasn't true. So she was making that up. Remember, I was like, how are these other people in on it that Rebecca Minkoff and her husband, like, swapsies?
Right.
But that all made sense. But again, it's like, oh my God, so Brynn did know. And then we find out Raquel actually knew because Aaron and Abe on their double date comment. It's like, what was the point? You were only testing basically Jessel at that point and Jenna. I mean,
I agree. Okay, so we need to correct two things quickly before I forget. One is we called Abe Gabe.
Oh,
yes. The last episode. His name is Abe.
It's Mel jokingly calls him Gabe.
Gabe, yes. And the second thing is Raquel. Her ex that she used to date is actually a woman, and I called it a man. The artist.
Oh.
Yes, one of our followers told me like it's not a man, it's a woman.
Oh,
so that
I
was
didn't
Raquel.
know that.
So
okay.
Raquel dated Corey Baylor, who was a man, and then her first,
who was the investment guy.
Yeah. And then her first lesbian relationship was the famous artist.
Oh, and that's who she was all entwined with, and they had to be okay.
And that was a woman, and I called.
I
that
did
person
not
a
know
man.
that. Okay,
Yeah. So,
but to be fair, Raquel never stated it one way or the other.
Never said the name. So, but the name I think is a little more unisex, and I thought it was a man.
Okay.
So anyway,
all right, clear that up.
My own fault there. Okay, so the one thing I want to say to you on this franchise, there are storylines that are going on that are like Real Housewife worthy.
Yes.
The prank is not.
No.
But the storylines that are going on. So Brynn and the eggs. This is like a very relatable storyline for everybody who's of this age.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's trying to, what seems to be trick Gideon into, fertilizing her eggs is very odd. It's like, Brynn, just marry this man. What has happened in the course of life that you don't feel like this man is like good enough to marry?
I know.
You could do a lot worse.
Yes. And I was going to say, please tell me they had to have discussed this before filming.
Yeah.
The way he's just like, first he was doing the classic, like, repeating the questions. I was like, oh, God, he's stalling. He's nervous. Like, he's feeling really awkward when she kept being like, so, about fertilizing those eggs. And then he kept stalling. And then he was just like, yeah, I'd love to. I was like, sorry. This cannot be the first time he was asked.
Right. He mulled it.
He did not come to that conclusion that quickly.
Right.
Like, that is a huge decision. But also, as she said, he splits his time between LA and London.
How would that work?
One of them isn't even New York. Like, how are you going to co-parent?
Right. Also, well, I think he would probably make it work for her. Like, he clearly still is in love with her. But also that poor child, when they're having that conversation, was like off in another room playing. Like, nobody was watching that child.
Like, whose kid was it? Just a friend of hers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was having anxiety. I'm like, Brynn, that kid should be in eyesight at least.
Yeah. They're literally they're drinking champagne, talking about creating embryos. And we're like, do we know where the boy is?
Right. Okay, so that's one storyline. The second is the Uba and the fibroid.
Yeah.
Also very relatable.
We're getting a ton of, just fertility stuff.
And then obviously the abortion piece.
Oh my gosh.
That is like groundbreaking, Jessica.
Yeah. That's what I think Andy commented. Like, these are some of the most real and honest things we've ever seen on a Housewives show.
And to me, it's like, I don't think the editors are necessarily giving this like abortion thing enough of a storyline or something.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Erin is going to carry this herself. This is Erin's storyline.
Yeah.
But I mean, the amount of fertility stuff that's going on, the amount of abortion stuff, like this is like heavy stuff that they're talking about. So it just makes that prank thing seem so even more like eye roll. Like, why are we talking about this?
Yeah. And oh my gosh, you know what? Just when you recapped all those in order, it's because New York is probably the lowest average age.
Right.
That this is actually, it's Jessel wondering if they're going to have another kid. Mm-hmm. They actually are young enough to I put joke in quotes because, like, I'm sorry, joking you're pregnant is the dumbest thing ever. I don't know if you remember, it was quite a few years ago. I mean, now they have a kid. Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber did an April Fool's pregnancy post, and people were like, how tone deaf are you?
Yeah, like, don't even.
And you're huge celebrities. Like, you know what this is going to do. We all need to know pregnancy pranks are not cool.
Right.
Like, it's just not. And I don't think any of them were getting that. And you know what? Was it, who said it? Someone in their confessional just said, Rebecca and Erin need to like watch their pregnancy privilege. I forget who said it.
It was Sai.
Yes, it was Sai. And I was like, you know what? That's so true. Because she literally goes, Uba, Brynn, and Jessel would all like to be pregnant right now. Like, this isn't a joke.
Or they're battling, Jessel, I think, is still thinking through things. But, and they're all about our age, right? They're all about 38, 40. And New York, I feel like New York, I've always known as a city that you get married older. Things happen for you a little older. And that is totally fine in New York versus like a small town in Kansas where you get married super early. So it makes sense that all these women are having these moments. And I think that's what this franchise should be about. And and also, by the way, I was shocked. Erin basically talks about her abortion. Jenna, the abortion.
Said she had one.
Erin's mom. Erin's dad.
I know.
Right? Like, all of a sudden it opens it up from like someone's kind of unique storyline that everyone can't relate to. And it's like, no, everybody is going through this to some extent. I thought it was a pivot that we needed in this season. But
I agree.
The problem is they're not discussing this stuff as like group settings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could talk about the pregnancy privilege in the group setting.
Right.
And say,
but Sai did it in a confessional. Right. Like,
or they're talking about leaky fucking pigeons in the group setting. When meanwhile, it's like 4 out of the 5 of them are worried about pregnancy stuff, and you just did a pregnancy prank.
I know.
That's where I think this is not connecting.
Like missing the mark a little.
No, Bethany Frankel went on and she said,
oh God, what did she say?
Her take was way different. Her take was that original New York, they were all women who were nobodies. Like, Bethany was a nobody when she first started. Okay. Ramona thought of herself as somebody high up, but was nobody.
But she was a nobody. Yeah.
Jill Zarin couched herself, and we watched those ladies grow up, and that's what made it so fun. It's like, no, Bethany, that's not.
Watch them grow up. They were in their 50s when they all started
watch
the
them
show.
Like evolve.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like, get into their famousness.
Yeah.
It's like, Bethany, that's not it. I'm sorry. We have Bose, who's famous as all get out on Beverly Hills, and she's great TV already.
Right.
That's not what this franchise has a problem with.
Who is she saying is already... Okay, Jenna Lyons, sure.
She thinks that these women are already built for fame and like already posh and like they already have one eye on the followers and they're not letting any authenticity show of like the small apartments or whatever.
Yeah, but it's also... Someone was saying too that it has evolved too much that Ramona's basically racist and like sometimes really uneducated views on things doesn't fly anymore. Yeah. Like, all the housewives have kind of had to get with the program there. And Ramona got away with it for a while because she was of a certain age.
Right.
It was a little bit, but like we're kind of past that.
Right.
No one is,
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like
you have to neutralize yourself in this day and age. You can't, you're not coming in as like the firecracker who just to say anything anymore, because if you are racist, they're gonna cut you.
Yeah.
They had that one housewife that they cut last season because she said something racist.
Yep.
To Bryn, I think.
Lord. I'm surprised like Bryn's stuff hasn't. I'm sure it'll be a reunion topic, and maybe that's where Bryn and Uba are still not good yet. But like all that stuff of Bryn saying like, I don't want you to be portrayed as an angry black woman.
Yeah, right. Can we talk about really quick side comment? So at the Uba picnic, did you catch that Bryn was literally eating a penis popsicle
that she got from the Museum of Sex?
Jessica, that was so weird and gross, and like producers should have just been like, put that down.
And they had to blur it. That's where everyone's like, I'm sorry, Bryn is like a fake. I'm overly sexual. And I always talk in this little baby voice. And like, it's so true. It's like, oh my God, Bryn, stop.
I'm like, put that weird. It also looked like it was a black penis. Like it was just
chocolate.
Like, and then she was eating the cookie that also looked like it was a woman's anatomy. I'm like, Bryn, you're done with this.
It's too much.
Jeff Lewis was saying that he thought that Bryn's kind of hitting on Jenna was super disrespectful to Jenna's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which I guess if I saw that, Jessica, like somebody was hitting on Kunal, like all during filming. Yeah. Even if it was just like sassy comments, I'd be like, step off.
Like, I don't like it. Yeah. No, I agree. It's like because she's like, well, I'm straight, I can be all cutesy. Right. And it's like, no, if you were doing that to someone's husband, it wouldn't be okay. So like, don't do it to a woman who's engaged.
I've seen way bigger blow-ups happen for way less.
Yes.
Amongst couples than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else on New York? Anything? Anyway, all right. So let's go to Salt Lake City.
Yes. Final franchise to discuss.
Final franchise. Okay, so we have to recap 2 episodes here. So one is the Breakfast at Tiffany's episode, and the second is our most recent, which is the Girl Scout.
Oh my God, I just watched it today just because of the holidays. So it's very fresh.
Really fresh. So let's talk about Todd first. He comes in so hard at Brown at the beginning of the last episode around
her behavior.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about Brown with Todd is she seems to get like potty mouthed around him.
She's like acting out like, I'm going to swear in front of my parents.
Like, Todd's here.
Yes.
Hiding under the chair. Todd is here.
Totally agree. I almost feel like she's pushing the boundaries.
She doesn't act like that normally. And then when Todd is sitting right next to her, then she says weird stuff.
Yes.
Okay, I'm happy you noticed that too.
Yes. And did you notice, I think it was in her confessional, after they show him saying like he didn't like how she behaved, again, like admonishing her. And then in her confessional, she was like, Todd's approval means everything to me. I found that to be a very weird word to use for your husband.
Interesting.
I just would never say my husband's approval.
Right.
That sounds very like
power struggle.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And I was like, that is so weird. Like there's a million things. You want your husband's respect. That's a normal thing to want. You know, like
you don't want embarrass him.
You want their support.
Loyalty. Yeah.
I would never say I want his approval.
Yeah. Well, I think at the end of the day, if I could just underline their relationship, the money, I mean, she's never had to worry about the money of it all. Yeah. And I think that came with and you're going to act a certain way. I mean, Erica and Tom.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get around it. I mean, people can hate us for saying that, but it's like, I don't know how that doesn't play out to some extent.
Yes.
When you're 25 and you're marrying a 50-year-old and you're set for life.
And I'm jumping to the most recent episode, but on the Todd and Bronwyn, he said he did a full background check on her when they met. Right. He goes, I had my team. Again, that's where Heather was like, not something you want to discuss or probably want your friends knowing. She goes, nor does that sound like the fairy tale start to a relationship. Right.
But
So
but
that
I
was
do think
interesting.
I think Heather needs to shut her mouth, because that was potentially why he maybe didn't do a prenup if he caught. And she was harping on that for so long. It's
Did
like,
you notice Heather kept calling him Alan? Not to his face.
Yeah, she just like screwed up the name.
But she was like, kikiing with Brooks and Chloe in the corner. And she goes, oh, Bronwyn and her husband, Alan, just walked in. Like, just totally still saying
like
the
saying
wrong.
in the wrong.
Yeah, I think she's kind of doing it on purpose now.
Okay, so we go to breakfast at Tiffany's, Mary's house.
Yes.
So let's just hit some of the outfit choices. First of all, why... Okay, Meredith's hair is getting trashed online.
Yes, I mean...
It looked horrible.
The bangs.
It looked just like absolutely horrible.
Thank God they were clip-ins.
Lisa's Tiffany blue jumpsuit. When her and Mary kind of go toe-to-toe on like who's more fabulous, Jessica, I secretly love it.
Yes.
Like, because it's like so bougie. It's like, well, you were at the show, but I got it off the rack, but I was sitting next to Rihanna at the show. That stuff, I'm like, can we hear more about that?
A little more. But that, I'm sorry, Lisa, that was a choice. You wore a jumpsuit you knew Mary had already worn to her house.
See, I wouldn't keep track of that. I would not be like, oh, Jessica wore this 6 weeks ago on Watch What Happens Live. I'd be like, this is my Tiffany blue jumpsuit. I'm wearing it.
I don't know. I think if you're that into fashion, you notice.
You notice.
Bronwyn for sure knew they had both worn it.
Oh, really? Mm.
Yeah, like she's aware of that stuff. But okay, fine.
Okay, and then Brittany's outfit. Like, that was just...
Did you hear when Meredith said, did you get the same invite? And Mary goes, yes, she did.
And she had that weird hair colic happening. Like, it wasn't fully, like, flattened on her head. She is... Let's just get through her. She's unhinged. First of all...
Super.
What about me throwing the napkin?
I have so much secondhand embarrassment for her when she does, like, anything.
I know. And then jump to also the next episode... And they start talking about how her and Jared are back together. And she stands up again, Jessica.
She literally is like, okay, this is my moment. She loves standing up when it's her time to talk.
I think she is good TV, but she is unhinged. Like, they cannot even... They don't even know what to do with her.
Yeah.
You can tell the cast.
And I think the cast knows that she is... Because like you said... A lot of people film and they don't know where they're going to shake out. And clearly, Maylee, who we just got a reappearance of at Girl Scout Day, we haven't seen her in weeks. But clearly, I think the rest of the core group knows how desperate Brittany wants to be on the show. And so when Brittany's going, you didn't invite me to anything, invite to her means I didn't get to film.
Right.
So I get it. I think the core cast are like, you're just desperate. Yeah. We also personally don't really like you. Yeah. But like when you're not hurt because we're your friends and we aren't inviting you, you want to be where the cameras are.
Yeah, right. I totally agree with all that. Okay, so what do you think about, did you see Jared was sliding into Mary, or she said that on the show.
So weird.
Okay, but Mary talked to him first. That's what Reddit found.
What do you
Mary
mean?
reached out to Jared first.
Oh, and
she wrote him something.
Okay.
And then he's replied now twice to her.
Sorry, how does Reddit know that?
I don't know, Jessica, but I saw... and Reddit never lies.
Unless Jared's on Reddit going, Mary reached out to
somebody
Jared.
Had a screenshot. Now, this could be made up.
Thing.
But it was a screenshot of the full thing, and Mary messaged him first. A big paragraph long.
Okay.
I didn't even read it, but it was something along the lines of like, I think Brittany is doing you dirty, kind of like doing your reputation wrong. I think you're a nice guy. That's what Mary said to him. Okay. And then he responded with, my like blessed Mary, like I don't know if you caught.
It was something like I felt a spiritual connection.
Yes.
Okay.
My blessed Mary, I knew you were lovely and nice.
Oh, okay.
If you didn't have the Mary first text, you would think he's coming on to her. But the Mary first text is like kind of like her saying to him like, I don't think you're really like this.
Yeah, gotta love how that part was kept out.
Right, yes. Okay, so also with Brittany, let's just hit this. The bringing the wine over to her house with Angie.
I'm so on team Angie.
Yeah.
We also in this most recent episode find out that Brittany texted Angie the next day saying, thank you so much for coming and for the wine, which was delicious, by the way.
Yeah.
So she drank it.
Yeah.
And then to say that was so offensive to bring it, but you're thanking her for it because you drank it.
But I think it just goes back to your point, Jess, that she wants to be on TV.
Yeah.
You know, and she's trying to make sure she can have those blow ups and then be kind of still cool with people after the fact.
And Heather was slightly explaining it where she goes, I get it. Like when I was kind of leaving the Mormon, it is, you don't want to look like you're breaking the rules because drinking is just a no-no.
Right.
So it is, I sort of get the appearance, but you then don't get to be mad at a non-Mormon for bringing you wine when, as Angie said, like you're slugging them back at other events. So I know you like it.
I would have brought wine. Like
Right.
I always think in my head, I'm like, what, I would have done that? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I would have done that.
Classic thank you for having me gift when you're being invited over to someone's house, bottle of wine. Yeah.
Okay, the last thing that was really weird, which before we switched from breakfast at Tiffany's to Girl Scouts, was when Meredith was playing the podcast and Whitney tries to grab it out of her hand.
Yeah.
What was happening there?
I know. Whitney was claiming I was trying to do the volume, but the volume's on the side of your phone.
And
she was like moving her hand all around.
Yeah, and she didn't need to wring it out of Meredith's hand to hit the volume.
That was very strange.
She could have just said, turn up the volume.
I can't fully hear it. Turn it up. Yeah, that was so strange.
So then Meredith leaves the breakfast. On the after show, they said one funny thing about it that I thought you would love. So apparently Meredith's leaving. She's crying. She takes the gift bag, which they,
make
talk
fun
to
of her for.
And apparently walks out. And when she's walking out of Mary's house, kind of slips on the ice a little bit.
God. It's like the Tamra leaving the dinner party and tripping down the
she's having a big dramatic exit and kind of like has to like, wow, my legs are slipping out. Okay, also, did you see that Andy at this fan fest, which I have a lot of thoughts about that fan fest, Jessica. It was BravoCon.
It was mini BravoCon, yeah.
But they canceled BravoCon this year because they clearly all went to London because Bravo was doing that weird relation. Which I don't want to deal with Hey You. I don't.
No. It's for the international people.
So instead of doing BravoCon, they did this weird this fan fest.
Yeah.
Did you see that there was this moment that Andy Cohen kind of snubs Heather?
Yeah.
And people couldn't tell if it was because he was trying to mirror and parody
when she snubbed Bronwyn,
or is he actually like, Heather, you're not my favorite that much anymore?
Yeah, it was strange.
We're gonna see. We'll see.
I would love to know the snub.
All right, so then Meredith and Mary meet at the art gallery.
For all of 2 minutes.
Jessica, I love when these like late things come about because I always think of you because you are the prompt person and I am the not prompt person. There is no better fight on Housewives history than when someone comes late.
Yeah, I mean, an hour, I would not still be waiting for you. If you hadn't already texted me that something was like, had come up, I would also be like, okay, I'm going to go find a coffee shop and sit and wait. I'm not perusing this art gallery for an hour waiting for you.
It's like you want to start a fight, have somebody come in 40 minutes late.
The convo won't go well
if
that's...
Especially because the late one never...
apologizes or acknowledges that they're that late.
They're just like, oh yeah, that's normal.
That conversation would have gone so differently with Meredith if Mary had just been like, I'm sorry I'm running late. I actually have had a lot of stuff going on with Robert Jr. And he's not doing well. Can you imagine how different? Meredith would have never launched into anything. And so I was like, that's not fair. Like, you can't be mad that someone isn't supporting you in your life when you haven't told them
what's going on.
And again, I'm not saying Mary has to share it, but you don't get to be mad at Meredith for not knowing.
I agree with you. Now, two things. One is that I think, though, Mary is purposely holding that back because she's, like, pissed at Meredith. So she's like,
I'm not going to share this deep thing going on.
I'm not going to be vulnerable with you when you're being weird with me.
Right.
But the second thing is, apparently, and I read this on Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt, but at the Girl Scout camp retreat, they talk about Robert needing to go to rehab.
Oh, and that got cut?
Yeah, apparently Bravo does not want to hear about Robert going to rehab.
Oh.
Like, they're keeping the rehab piece out of it.
Oh, okay.
now, again, take this all with a grain of salt, but Lisa and Mary, you know how their fight seemed oddly intense?
I was like, where did this hatred just come from?
It started from a conversation about Robert with rehab, and Mary makes some weird ass comment to Lisa about Henry.
Oh.
And I don't know if she was implying that Henry has some issue that he's got to work through, or that, Lisa needs to parent
Isn't Henry like 13?
Yes, parent her own child.
Lord. Okay.
But apparently it was a really low blow. First of all, Robert did not want to show rehab. That's what I'm reading. Apparently it was a really low blow to Lisa and Mary, or Lisa and Henry, which lit Lisa up.
Okay.
And then Jessica carried that through to the bar mitzvah dinner.
Yeah.
And Meredith alludes to again, like, there's something going on with me. And all of their faces were like, like Heather's face, her mouth was open.
Yeah.
I'm like, they clearly know. When I watched them, like, they clearly know what's going on with her.
Right.
But it's because they had already talked about it at the Girl Scout thing and they cut that.
Oh.
Doesn't that make a lot more sense now?
But Girl Scout happened after Gallery. So Meredith did not know that at Art Gallery.
Agreed. For what you're saying at Gallery, still all stands.
Got it.
But,
okay. That makes so much more sense because I was so confused when Mary and Lisa started going at it. I was
so
like,
heavy.
What?
So heavy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you saw Watch What Happens Live, but also, I mean, let's just get into Mary and Robert, right? But Robert Sr. is nowhere to be found because he's mad at production. He doesn't trust production.
Really?
He doesn't like them. He thinks that they spin stuff.
Oh,
so
he's refusing to film. Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, so let's talk about quickly the Mary and Robert conversation.
Oh, yep.
So we got some comments online that we were not being sensitive to this conversation. And so for those who have seen that at all, we just need to say that it was at the beginning of the season.
Yes, we recorded that over a month ago.
And it was not clear what was going to take place here.
Yep.
And how authentic and deep this was going to get.
Yeah.
And we were gossiping about it.
Right.
When now it's...
Because that's all we knew at the time.
Right, because that's all we knew.
And, I will be the first to admit, I could not have had more of a 180 on this.
Yes. And
Good.
now we know.
Oh my God, I cried. I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about their conversation. It is so deep and heavy, and good God, do I feel for Mary.
Yeah.
And him, and Robert Jr.
Right.
He fully, oh my God, I'm going to start crying saying it when he said, I didn't kill myself because of you.
Yeah.
I lost
Gives
it.
me chills.
I lost it. I was like, holy shit. And again, Andy commented when we had the RHONY abortion with Aaron story, and then he goes, these are two of the heaviest back-to-back real life shit we've ever had.
Right. Well, I also think this, just pulling something out of the archives, I don't know if you ever watched Family Karma. But,
no, I didn't.
One of the gay guys of Family Karma came out to his grandma on.
Yeah.
It's right there and giving goosebumps and all that because these are the conversations that I think people need to see.
Right.
Anyway, so just to clarify that, but couple of things. One is I feel horrible for him. People are getting really annoyed with that moment online. Some people did not appreciate that Mary showed him because it will memorialize comments and the fact that he's going through this hard period on TV.
Yeah.
He's also clearly high.
Yeah.
During the conversation. I mean,
he said I took a Xanax this morning.
So it's interesting to watch the arguments come about online because you can see both sides. You know?
I was gonna say you also these housewives can't win because either they're putting it all out there and we're going, oh my God, do you maybe want to keep this to yourself? Kind of like Mia on Potomac.
Oh my gosh.
With paternity stuff. Slight caveat that again is about a minor.
Yes, right.
Little different. But yeah, we would then be saying if Mary was acting erratically on the season and we just didn't get it, we'd be like, what's going on with her? To then find out her son went to rehab for drugs.
Yeah. It's
like, oh, that was going on in the back. Right. And now that I get why she was acting the way she was. So I agree. You can't win. I mean, like we said, these are the convos people need to see. And that's what makes it the Real Housewives.
Right.
She is dealing with a very heavy topic. And, it makes me terrified too, to just think like you can do everything. And the way she said he was like such a good student, like everything was trending so positively. Right. And then he just said, when someone gave me Xanax at a party,
and that
just started it all.
I also thought her way of handling it was really refreshing too, because you know, like in your head when you think of parents having those conversations, you think of just a lot of yelling, and kind of finger pointing, or you need to do better. And she was sitting there going like,
I won't judge you.
Yeah, you're my partner in crime. You're perfect the way you are. Like, I can help you, but you need to take it. I thought the whole thing was like very, very well done.
Yeah.
Now I still think Mary's kind of an asshole at certain points, and I still think she says the wrong thing, and I still think she's kind of dense in how she treats other people. But
yes,
two things can be true at the same time.
Yes, we can really feel for her in this moment and still not love her actions in other moments.
Yes. All right, so Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, that's kind of it. The last thing I just want to ask you is the Whitney of it all.
She's kind of been a non-factor these last few.
Yes, but Mary, or I think it was Lisa, says Whitney is really the root of all these groups' issues. On the After Show, she said it. And I just wanted your take on that, because there's so many fights going on. Let me just recap for you, because I wrote this
please.
all down.
I was like, let me see if I can figure out the Whitney thread.
Brittany and Angie in the wine bottle, not Whitney involved.
No.
Meredith and Mary and the kick out of the house, because Meredith was fighting with Angie about the podcast.
Yeah.
Angie and Browen fight. I don't even know what that's about, but when she tells her to turn up her hearing aids, which was like the wrong thing to say.
Oh my God, yeah.
Mary and Lisa talking about how Lisa is a liar. We saw that at Girl Scout camp. Yeah. We now know what that was about. And then Jared demamming Mary, which who knows if that will become a actual like storyline. But none of those have to really deal with Whitney.
No, I'm actually hearing Angie's name a little bit more.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and we didn't talk that Angie and Lisa have reconciled. They went to the aquarium, and that's good. I feel like that.
We need one of these to be dead.
Yeah,
we need one to die.
Also, thank God that snake scene was short, because I fast forwarded through the whole thing. I could not look at the snakes. That was grossing me out.
Oh, the actual live snakes?
Yeah, I can't look at them on TV.
I thought you meant that little stuffed animal.
Oh, no. Could not watch them with their kids with the snake. I was like, hope they don't have a big convo during this, because I can't
watch the snakes. Anyway, so it will be interesting to see how this season continues on.
And, I guess the whole Robert Jr. piece, we know that, like, present day when the season started airing, it was that he had just kind of gone to rehab. So nothing changes too quickly, right? They filmed this months and months ago. So he clearly, there's still a bit of, like, maybe coming to terms with it. And
yeah. I mean, I appreciate Salt Lake compared to some of these other franchises.
I love Salt Lake.
Let's hit on Potomac for 1 second. So Potomac, you said it. Mia is... Everything is out there. She's letting it all hang out. It is not getting the same like gravitas that other storylines are getting.
Yeah.
And I was trying to put my finger on why. You know, she's like, she reveals all of this. And it just seems like every episode is like, there's more coming out. Like the big one last episode was, she said, the fathers of my children. Everyone's like, fathers?
Yeah, she said it so casually. It was like...
Do you think it's because she is saying stuff so casually? Or do you think it's that it's so much?
Yeah, it's almost too much. And I do think Giselle even said, you are exaggerating so many things. I don't believe you anymore.
Right.
When they cut to like... She was just having us all almost in tears about Gordon having a manic episode and how he could not be around Ink, and a day later is posting them all at their pool.
Okay. Yeah.
Having a blast.
Yeah. It's like whiplash. No, people can't keep up.
And then they kind of cut to like older seasons, and like, remember when Mia had her health scare and was very weird about it, and everyone's like, so you had cancer? I was like, no, I didn't say I had, So I think we're all becoming more aware that Mia is a fabricator.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I'm like, this is a juicy storyline.
Yeah.
And people are just not really giving much time.
I mean, we got paternity, we got DUI cases.
Yeah, abortion.
We've got Stacy clearly dating a gay man. I mean,
Stacy. I love Stacy.
I do too.
Why? She's just like such a lovable dork, I
Yes,
feel.
that's what everyone's like. You know what? They were saying this is the beauty of bringing someone in who clearly isn't a fan of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like, she really didn't know like what was going on, and it's kind of beautiful when they have no
Stacey.
idea.
Love you.
I love her too.
Okay, anything else?
No, good Lord. So many shows.
Had to debrief it all.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move to Jessica. What are the kids talking about these days?
Yes. Okay. Have you seen any? This was like a survey that had come out somewhat recently, I think, because it was all over my headlines, about what Gen Z's idea of being successful is. Like, they take these generational, how much money do you think you need to earn to like be successful? I couldn't find anywhere if they ever clarify, is this for a single person, or are they talking about if you're a family to like feel secure? But again, small pool. 2,203 American adults were asked about this. So Gen Z has an astronomically high number. They think they need to make, I'm just going to round this, $588,000 a year to be successful.
I've seen some of this on social media.
So,
they are ridiculous.
No wonder they have horrible outlooks in life when they start out of college and they're like, I'm making $60,000. I need $588,000 to be successful.
And I'm rolling my eyes at this generation because it's also like, and how do you think you make that? Well, I guess they would say the side hustle, right? This is a side hustle generation.
Yes, yes. But like the discrepancy between that generation, boomers said they would settle for just under $100,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
Millennials, where do you think millennials roughly
I would say
said?
250.
180.
Okay.
A little lower. And then I think they had Gen X in here somewhere. They were right in the middle of the road. But then they also talked about just like full net worth. And again, Gen Zers were saying that they need to, like, almost later in life, their net worth needs to be around 12 million to be like successful and happy. It's like
12 million?
Yeah. Where the F are they coming up with these numbers? Like, why on earth?
I have a theory that they're all doing OnlyFans, Jessica. So 12 million seems
they actually
reasonable.
They might accrue that.
That's a high earner on OnlyFans. Yeah.
Yeah. But it made, they were saying it, the like summary of the survey was they're like, the boomers who actually are the wealthiest said that they can be okay with lower.
Oh, interesting.
And the poorest generation currently, because they're just out of school, some are obviously still in school, whatever.
Right.
The Gen Zers think they need the most.
Right.
And I'm like, no wonder they're such an unhappy generation.
And who is telling them, like, someone needs to tell them, aka hopefully their parents or somebody older than them, and go, that's
unrealistic. How
Like,
much do you think you need to survive, like, any day? And mind you, they probably are all like still living at home. It's like, what do you need that money for? You don't have rent.
Oh
so
my gosh.
yeah, just crazy discrepancies.
Cringy.
Yes.
Alrighty, do you want to do 2 conspiracy theories?
Yes, please.
Okay, so one is about Disney princesses, which you probably heard.
Okay.
I heard this today. I'm trying desperately to stay away from all politics, although I do have one political one today.
All right.
So the first conspiracy theory, and this is an old one, it's been around for a while, but that every Disney princess has a disorder.
Oh.
It's like, the conspiracy is that every Disney princess and her storyline is actually a coded psychological disorder.
Oh, okay.
So you've heard of probably Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
Right? She falls in love with the captor.
Yes.
Ariel apparently is the Disney princess, Ariel under the sea.
Yeah, Little Mermaid.
A Little Mermaid, thank you. She's a hoarder because she collects all those things and sings.
I love that song. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. Yeah.
Apparently it's borderline hoarder.
Okay, so she's a hoarder. Love this.
Alice in Wonderland kind of sees caterpillars, the Cheshire cat.
She's
schizophrenic. Yes,
schizophrenic.
Elsa and Anna. I don't watch Elsa and Anna in Frozen. I've never seen Frozen. Apparently, though, it's like they're kind of warm and cold. They're high
bipolar.
and low. Yes.
Okay.
And then I did a little test because I'm like, what about like Snow White?
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't really know that story.
I don't remember that story, but apparently Snow White has post-traumatic stress because she has a traumatic event where a hunter, I don't even remember this, but a hunter tries to kill her because the queen wants her dead because she wants to be the fairest in the land, the queen.
Okay, yeah.
And then she moves into this hut and meets these 8 dwarves. And the 8 dwarves are basically the exact criteria listed to diagnose post-traumatic stress. So if you were to check down the list,
like drowsy.
Yeah, you move
forget.
through
I can never name all the dwarves.
Dopey, sleepy, whatever. Yeah, which I don't know.
Oh yeah, not drowsy, sleepy.
Just because like anxiety. It's like no, that's.
Why didn't I pick up on that? Yeah, hungry.
Yeah, right. Hangry. Anyway, so
and Cinderella has narcolepsy.
I didn't even look into Cinderella.
Not Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty.
Oh yeah, Sleeping Beauty, right.
Narcolepsy, yeah.
But we've heard that. I mean, I've heard that before, but this one I finally did a little deep dive on like what would the others be. Ariel and the Hoarder is like so funny to me.
That one's funny, yes.
All right, so then the second conspiracy theory.
Wait, but they just want to like showcase this to children or something?
Yes, that they're programming. It's the same old, same old. So Disney is, programming characters to show children. And this is by default kind of subliminal messaging to children on certain things that maybe they shouldn't be talking about.
Oh.
And I'm sure there's probably a link to the pharma industry in there. But basically
you're going to need medicine to correct this.
It's this whole idea that Disney is evil, basically.
Okay.
And so they build these characters off of disorders.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
We've talked about Disney being evil before.
Yes.
Yeah, and their parks and all that.
It's highway robbery.
Okay, so then the second one is about the election.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw this. It didn't like hit mainstream as much as what I thought it was going to. And of course, Jessica and I will never tell our political sides on this. So, there in no way is this suggestion of that. But basically, the conspiracy theory that people have that the election was stolen, last Donald Trump election. And then ABC apparently accidentally aired the results of Pennsylvania, which was a key swing state, before the election day. It was about a week before. It showed up on people's TV screens during the Formula One Mexico Grand Prix. So down at the bottom of the screen, it was like this ticker that showed that Kamala was going to win Pennsylvania 52 to like 40. Yeah. It showed a number of votes, and it showed up on people's screens, and everyone took pictures of it. Yep. And it was done about a week before the election. So everyone thought, here we go. They're going to show that she is still, they're going to, this will be the result, even though we haven't even gotten the votes in.
Yeah, we haven't even gone to the polls.
Right. AKA stealing the election. Here we go. That was what all of them did. Now, ABC says there was a random test to make sure that their equipment was working properly for the election. And basically they were saying Pennsylvania doesn't even allow you to start counting the ballots until 7 a.m. the day of the election. Can you imagine like some intern like throwing that up there to like check that at ABC? Like
some poor Gen Zer who doesn't have an internship
Somebody's
anymore.
Like, take that down.
What, you idiot? You did not go live.
So the conspiracy was, and I waited specifically until much after the election to talk about this, but that basically, if that was going to be the result of Pennsylvania, that everyone would know that it was faked. Yeah. Also, the ABC moderators, just to add to the brewing of all of this, they were the ones, I think Trump did one debate with her, and it was on ABC. Yes. And then they had kind of all that kind of whistleblower stuff, which I don't even know if that was true now that I look back on it, that the ABC moderators maybe were biased for Kamala. In a bunch of meetings with her.
That they were saying they were fact-checking him more. Right. I was like, well, maybe he just needed to be
more fact-checked.
Yeah. I mean, you never know.
You never know. But anyway, so it was the same station.
Pennsylvania went for Trump, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, this didn't actually come out to fruition.
Right, which is specifically why I waited to talk about it, because I wasn't going to fuel some non-news, fake news, but it was the same TV station. Yes. They did the bias, quote-unquote, bias.
During the debate,
and then they threw up the test. Anyway, so that was the second one. And you can still see screenshots of it online. Like I looked today, people still have that up.
Yeah. No, I had heard about election results coming out a week before the election.
Yeah, right.
And I just went, here we
go.
go.
I'm so happy that's over.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Me too.
Jessica, great talking to you.
You too.
We're going to have to tell all our viewers how we're going to handle Southern Charm.
Yeah.
Who's coming out.
I forget the live date. I think it's next week. It's early December, and that is frickin' next week already.
Yeah. And we already see that one of them has left, or he's like stopped filming.
JT. He was such a little weasel. I don't care.
I agree.
I'm glad he didn't fit the group.
No.
He wanted to be on too badly.
And he wanted to sleep with Taylor too badly. Let's just say
That was so embarrassing for him. That was never going to happen.
That was never going to happen. Boo boo.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll announce to everyone how we're going to work that in, but we will be watching Southern Charm.
Yes. And you all better too. It's so good.
So good. Snaps. All right, Jessica, great talking to you.
All right, bye.